Helck. My favorite part of Helck is when he said it's Helcking Time and Helcked all over them. In all seriousness, this anime is amazing. This show brings together so many different elements into a masterpiece of an anime. And when I first started watching this show, I thought it might be trash because, well, it's just called Helck. Not much to go on, and it kind of sounds boring. But let me tell you, there is no better title for this anime than Helck. My man's is the epicenter of everything, and he's straight up him. So, let me tell you why this show is so amazing. But there are spoilers out the wazoo. This show is a story-based show, so to fully cover it, I have to talk about said stories, so you have been warned. To start off this review, the relationships in this show slap. I mean, the relationship between the two main characters, Helck and Anne, is amazing. And yes, I know her name is Vermilio, but most of the show she is called Anne, and I love the way Pee-wee says, and Helck says, so I'm calling her Anne. With this relationship, there's actual growth, where at first Anne hates and is very sus of Helck, but eventually becomes a pillar he can lean on. This rarely happens in anime, besides romance anime or the rival becomes a friend in shonen anime, and honestly, those two are pretty similar. So having actual palatable relationship development is good. But the fun doesn't stop there, because Helck, both the show and the character, are both filled with amazing and sad relationships. You got Helck's main mercenary crew, consisting of Ediel, Alicia, and others. Those two are really the only main ones. But we get to see how the relationships formed and how they grew. Helck saved the life of Ediel, an area lord's son. So Helck decided to go with Ediel to save his city to help fight off monsters. There, they found the city being destroyed. But a group of mercenaries led by Alicia, a holy swordswoman, were fighting the monsters. They teamed up to defeat the monsters, eventually winning and forming a group of friends and mercenaries. That's basically the story of how they all became friends, and it's pretty nice. Helck always stood up so he could fight and protect his friends, but because they were all decently strong, they could stand beside him. After some time, they grew closer, eventually leading to Helck and Alicia almost going on a date. But stuff happens that we'll talk about later. For now, we can talk about Helck's brother Kless. So, one day Kless got really sick and was going to die, so Helck was trying to find him a doctor to cure him. No one would, so Kless was about to die. Luckily, Raphael came to help heal Kless. So Kless decided to train hard to become a knight, so he can start a revolution for equal rights, and Kless eventually became a hero. Now, Helck is like the best big brother, always helping Kless with what he needs, feeding him, and even taking beatings on his brother's behalf. He's always super supportive and is always just so proud of him. Honestly, if I had a big brother, I'd want him to be just like Helck. And because Helck was such a good big bro, Kless always loved him back full-heartedly. Their sibling relationship is just so good and wholesome. With all these relationships, we see how they were formed and how they grew, and the way they progressed felt so real. And that's just an amazing thing. And because Helck is such a himbo, everyone was drawn into the gravity that is Helck, which is why the show is called Helck. During the flashback, we see some, well, sad stuff, but I'll be covering that later. But let's just say that his friends eventually sacrificed themselves because Helck is the only one strong enough to eventually fight back and win. And you know, having all your friends sacrifice themselves for you really does a number on one's psyche. But that's what makes Helck's relationship with Anne all the better. Because she's very strong in her own right, she can stand strong by Helck. So she becomes a pillar that can hold him up so he keeps fighting the good fight. And there's a lot of trust between them because of it. Helck trusts Anne so much that he gave her the Hero Killer sword, that, as the name suggests, slays heroes. And because Helck is a hero, that weapon is basically the only thing that can kill him. So there's a lot of trust there, and I love it. Now, Helck and Anne's relationship doesn't end there. Their relationship is a massive chunk of this anime's comedy. At first, it begins with Anne setting up Helck to fail. Helck succeeds in an absurd way, then Anne is surprised and mad. Then, as the relationship develops, it's just Helck does some absurd thing and Anne calls him which, saying it myself, doesn't really capture the power of it, so you gotta go watch it yourself. The other half of this comedic coin is dumb/funny looking creature or thing exists. Cue laugh track. Be it this dumb looking water horse or the best character in the show, bar none, Pee-wee. And honestly, I love it though. They add in comedy quite well though. This show has its serious moments and always holds through. Instead of ruining a perfectly nice sad moments with an unneeded joke, they do the opposite by having a seemingly harmless joke turn into quite the depressing moment later down the line. And the way it's done is just spectacular. Speaking of sad moments, let's talk about the deep depression that is Helck. This anime just really hits you in the feels. There's this 6.5 episode flashback that reveals everything about Helck as a character. And honestly, it's some of the most depressing stuff. I talked about length about the relationships, but let's delve into the devastation a bit. Now, all the relationships in Helck are so nice, but it's because the relationships are so nice that when everything is destroyed, it hurts. that much more. Like, Helck was living his best life. He went from being a poor orphan taking care of his kid brother to living the life as a mercenary with an amazing group of friends and a possible girlfriend, Felicia. Then everything was just stripped away by the person who helped him the most, Raphael. The one who helped him from losing his brother and driving him to despair throws him right back into it. So, right before Helck was about to go on a date with Alicia, Zell, a friend of Kless, comes in and says that humans are evil. So, with his friends Edil, Alicia, and Zell, he goes to confront the human king. Their suspicions are confirmed, but they have to fight the king. The king commands Kless to fight them, so Helck is forced to fight his own brother. Luckily, Alicia's holy sword is actually the hero slayer, so they use it to subdue him. Sadly, the sword is stolen from them and is used to gravely wound Helck. But Kless breaks free from the control the king had on him and breaks the hero sword in half, takes one of the halves, and stabs himself to death. Now, seeing as his little brother just died in front of him because he was being used by supremacist nobles really made him mad. So he kind of goes berserk, causing a massive area of basically conquers hockey, making everyone around him fall under the might of his presence. Alicia goes to him, gives him a hug, and calms him down. And the voice actor lets out this amazing scream. And Helck passes out. So, seeing as Helck saved all of them in one way or another, and he's the only one who could stand against the king, they all sacrifice themselves to get him to safety. Helck awakens alone with faint memories of his friends sacrificing themselves for him. He goes back to the capital to find Alicia about to be executed for being a traitor. He makes it just in time to save her from being executed, and they share a nice hug because he saved her. Then, snow starts to fall, and everyone starts screaming in pain. The awakening has begun. The snow is a spell that awakens humans, and anyone in its radius gets turned into a monster controlled by the king. And in Helck's arms, Alicia starts changing, and with the last of her will, she tells him to keep smiling, no matter what. And by God, does this make me cry. And no matter how much I may try, I can never ever summarize this story to have the same emotional impact that it did at that moment and through these episodes. You have to watch this anime. I command you, just so more people can cry to this dang moment like I did. My boy Helck had it all, but lost it so fast, even though he was so determined to put all his strength into saving her. He couldn't stop what was coming, even though he is the hero and he tried his very hardest. Making so many sacrifices from his friends to his own brother, he still lost everything. This anime loves showing you and giving you amazing things just to rip it all away in the most deplorable and depressing of ways. It's been a while since I've seen an anime actually hit this hard when it comes to emotions like this, but I do love all the anime that do. The truly best part of the show is how it's all important. You've heard of Chekhov's revolver, and man, let me tell you, this show takes that to heart. Through all the multifaceted parts of the show, everything just comes together in the end, giving you that I get it now moment when all is revealed. So many times there were these small, minuscule hints of what's to come, dropped through a small, seemingly meaningless joke. But they turned out to be huge, actually super important and or depressing things. This can be seen in a joke about how small Helck's sword is. Ooh, haha, big man has tiny sword. I wonder if that's an innuendo or anything. And it's a funny joke. We laugh now, but then you get to the flippin' flashback and we see how the sword is the hero slayer. And the reason it's so small is because it's broken in half. And his girlfriend-to-be told him to kill her with it, and his brother killed himself with the other half. So like, what the hell, man? I didn't need a reason for the sword to be small. It was a funny joke. That's all I needed. But here you are making me feel guilty for laughing at a man's tiny sword, because there's actually super depressing reasons for it being that way. This happens a lot in this anime. From a small scale, between 2 episodes foreshadowing references, to big yet to be technically revealed. But if you see it, you get it. The former being dumb-looking horse is a rare thing that they need to escape the island, but Helck accidentally already caught one an episode prior, and the latter being a guy who used the power of darkness to save his kingdom. Both mimics Helck's story pretty one-to-one, but he also looks exactly like Adil does when he's forced to go berserk, so that's something as well. At this point, I'm sitting here wondering if there's any other small joke that I missed that actually means so much. But to find all of them, I'd have to come through this show with a microscope so I don't miss anything. There are easier to spot like intentional mysteries shown to us, like how everyone was saying Helck killed his brother. Though I already spoiled that one, it was a mystery throughout. Helck was always spouting about hating humans despite being one. And he was always so smiley and chipper. All of these things really don't go together. From a character standpoint, none of this would make any sense, so I was wondering what was up. They did drop hints here and there about his past, like how the Shadow Warrior was saying, "You and I are not so different, Spider-Man." but nothing was really actually told to us until the amazing 6.5 episode flashback. I mean, what are you watching here with all these flashbacks? One Piece? Unlike One Piece though, most of the stuff didn't happen 5 seconds ago and I was actually desperately craving answers. And oh boy, did this show deliver. Everything I wanted an answer to was given, and it even told me things I didn't even know I wanted to know. The best part is that it raised even more questions. It's amazing because I still feel the hunger to want to know more, which really kept me watching the show. Not even to mention the way the story grows and changes. Everything felt natural. The flow was just so good. We started with some nice simple tournament arc, but things scaled fast. Though during the main A plot we get nice comedy, fights with world building through Helck and Anne's journey, and we get tons of story advancement from the B plot where they are fighting the awakened heroes. Throughout the B plot though was just mainly hints to future reveals. And though I covered it already, I must reiterate, I love the relationships and how they grow throughout the entire story. And how the running theme is trust and friendship, though that is a cliche, seeing as actually every shonen anime has that theme at this point. Helck, though, does an amazing job showing it off. The progression from -50 trust to I got your back, don't worry about me, let's fight this together is crazy. But none of it feels forced, and wow, it's just so great. Okay, so this anime is a 24 episoder, which gives it plenty of room to be amazing and non-rushed as it can. Sadly, it's not done. Yeah, the show ends without the story being concluded, and that is just so sad. The last episode didn't even end in a fight, but all the humans leaving after Anne gave a Taka no Jutsu speech. So it's kind of anticlimactic in that respect. But personally, I liked it because it was when Anne finally fully realized Helck's inner struggle, and that was really the final piece in the relationship I was waiting for. It was just fire. So I must request that everyone go watch this so that I don't have to be the only one who cried, and I can get a season 2, and I can be happy. And though it may seem like I spoiled everything, I haven't even mentioned half the cast or the plot lines involved in this anime. So there's still plenty to discover if you want to watch more. This show was just so great, so go watch it if you haven't, but I'm just out of time, so I'm Ian Alloy, and a bye-bye.